with Mike, he had a total vet cost of 16,360. 8,600 of that was drugs, and 3,400 of that was vet call-outs alone. And there was 4,300 spent on vaccines. As he moved down along through the years, you can see the vaccination program was implemented, you can see how the cost of the vet has dropped down dramatically. He has went from, I think, 62 call-outs in 2011 when the IBR outbreak hit, down to, I think, 12 on average for the last 3 years. So we plateaued now at around between 8,500 roughly in terms of vet cost. It probably will raise slightly this year again because of the fact that stocking rate has increased, but Mike has a very strict, I suppose, vaccination policy in place now, and this seems to be what's working on the farm. So this is a picture of his weanlings here. You can see, I'm sure there's nothing wrong with them. So we'll move over to you, Mike, now. We've seen what I heard head breakdown can actually do with a farm. What led to this?
In 2011, I had an IBR problem, and I didn't know I had it until the autumn calving cows started to calve. And the calves started to cough when they were about 3 days old. And I thought that was kind of strange. So I rang the vet anyway, and he said it just probably is the bug, but I'd have a look at them anyway. So he came anyway, and he treated the calves. It was about 10 calves he treated, but only half of them responded. The other half didn't respond at all. So I rang him the following day, and he came back again. He says, this is not a bug. He says, this is something different. He says, I'd be very suspicious of IBR. So at that stage, he had to drip the calves, and we had to stump through them. And the following day, anyway, they got worse, and they were gone down. And eventually, their whole digestive system had broken down. And in the matter of 10 days, 5 calves had died. And in my opinion, IBR is the worst thing. I would never get one to see because I'm not supposed to. As you have IBR, if the calves get to that young age, you will not cure them. And if you do cure them, they just come to pop in fast.
Okay.
It's just a nightmare.
Thanks, Mike. So, what procedures do you take now to ensure that this won't happen again? What's your vaccination? How often are you vaccinating? What do you do if you see a calf that looks like it might be coming down with IBR? What do you?
I don't wait for that anymore, Alan. What we do is we took the nasal swabs and we came back positive. So every animal in the house now is done twice a year for IBR, March and April, and October, sorry. And the October shot, I think, is the best shot of the whole because it doesn't bring the virus into the house. And if we bring the virus into the house free, you have a great chance of coming through the winter or in both of them again.
Okay. And you're vaccinating now for a lot of things we've seen already.
I'm vaccinating for the salmonella, duckbill, BVD.
Yeah.
And the rotavirus for the scour, and twice a year for the pneumonia every 6 months, and also the booster shot for the calves in between. But health is good, like control is good, and weight gain is good. Like.
Some people might look at this presentation and say, look, there's still a huge cost. Most of your cost is in terms of vaccines. Is there any intentions to reduce your spend on vaccines or cut out anything, or is it worth you that much in terms of lack of stress and labour that you have to just take on the head?
I don't think anyone will cut down the vaccination because we see those calves, they're in February calves, believe it or not. And like the hair health is so good, tribe is so good, weight gain is so good, like I'm not going to go back to where it was there.
Okay. And you're averaging how many calls a year now?
When things were back, the 62 calls I had back in 2011, roughly about 12 call-outs I have now.
Okay. And one other point there, I didn't come up with this, is more related to what we're doing in James Madigan, but you've calved about 330 cows in the last 4 years, and you made the point you've only lost 2 calves. What's your secret to that?
Number one, I'm 100% AI, so dates are very accurate, and I'm compact calving, which is for one cow, I might be up for 10 cows, and restrict them about a month before they calve. And I use very, very easy calving bulls. For the heifers, I use Rio and HCR, and for the cows, Cementa, SCV, and IPZ, and Limousin ZDX, and the Sherry, LGL, and Mozart. This year, I found it very hard to restrict the cows because grass is growing all the time, and especially for the Belgian Blues, I use a good few MST cure. They're a very muscly calf, and whatever's in them, like they get bigger and bigger than the other calf for some reason or another. So this year I decided to put the cows into the slaughter house about 2 weeks before they calve and put them on hay and straw. And I find it much easier. I put them into the calving box the night before they calve. They're on the camera, and before I check them every 2 hours. You think I'm mad now, of course, but now I check them every hour on the hour set clock. So I have very little sleep for the last 3 weeks. At the moment I have 46 cows calves and I have 47 calves.
When I was building up, it wasn't as easy as now, I suppose. I suppose the biggest thing now is to have an adequate supply of replacement heifers. You can be choosy on what you cull them, you know. So basically, the spring herd starts calving 1st of January and finishes end of March. Breeding takes place the 20th of March to the 20th of June. The bulls are removed. Very strict on how quick you put a bull in and take the bull out. Also, when cows go to grass around then, I split the herd into two. I put 18 and maybe 18, and I eyed a few replacement heifers. Had plenty of bull power then, and if there's 2 or 3 or 4 cows bulling the same day, they'll be all covered, should be anyway. If moving on to the autumn, then the autumn starts calving 1st of August. This year they start, I think, at 2 calves, the end of July a set of twins. And by the 4th of September there was 41 out of 42 cows calved. That was the record so far. So the story there is about the 20th of October, split the cows again, I eyed the heifers, 2 batches, maybe 18 or 19 each batch, 2 bulls, and they're left outside as long as possible. Hopefully the closer I can get to the 1st of December, all the cows will be back in calf, heading back for the shed, so there's no messing around in the shed. Plus I'd say the reason the autumn cows are calving, going in calf quicker is because they have no interruption in their diet. They're on bare ground before the calf, come in for a few days while they're calving, and out straight out the grass again, no upset or no change over the diet.
Okay. I suppose labour efficiency, as you can see, it's a part-time farm, so labour efficiency is very important. I can imagine, right, we can see you have most of your cows calves in the first 6 to 8 weeks. Does this help labour efficiency in terms of your dosing, your vaccinating, your weaning, castrating, etc.?
It is massive, because you just haven't time to be messing, really. Everything is done together. Like you're dehorning 15 calves at a time, you're dosing them all together, you're weaning them all together. Plus, when they're weaned, you can handle all the vaccinations, go into the dry cows at weaning time. And there's no calves in your way, it makes it very simple. Plus, you have a higher average weaning weight in your calves, which means an awful lot.
Yes. And in terms of you're obviously finishing all the cattle on your farm, how does this help your finishing system in terms of grassland management, less groups of stock, etc.? How does this help?
Again, it's just like, well, from the 2 herds, all the steers are grazed together and all the heifers are grazed together, and then I draft out anything that comes to the right age or weight for finishing, and you're ending up with a nice batch of cattle for finishing, the one age, the one uniform, and you know, you have less groups of stock around the farm, you know, and then you have a higher carcass weight as well.
Right. Okay, we saw your calving interval, it's hovering around the 370, 378 days. Now, probably is a little bit, you can probably go a little bit better, and I'd say you probably will soon, but how are you actually achieving much better than the national average of 407 days?
Well, I suppose it goes back to the bulls again, removing them, just taking them away, and I have a little bit of room for improvement. I suppose I'm guilty of trying to build a herd. I was letting cows run from the ordinary calf going from one herd to the other, but that has stopped now. I wouldn't, it's not a good practice as long as you have the numbers built to get in your heifers and just take away the bull.
Okay. You have 2, oh yeah, I just asked you that, did you slip? Do you monitor body condition score your cows in during the year? I suppose that's a big issue.
Yeah, well, nearly overfat is nearly a bigger problem than too thin. But I find after a calf, especially the heifers, to not watch the heifers, that they don't want to start losing condition. This can be a problem. As long as I'm a rising plane of condition coming to the bulling, they'll be okay.
Okay. And we just saw the amount of vaccines Mike is using. What are you using for vaccines?
Yeah, when the cows are weaned, there's salmonella and lepto, and then 3 weeks before they're calving, they're brought in again and get their IVR and rotavirus.
Right, fair enough. And just to finally wrap up with you there, could you just give a quick run through the diet of your spring calving cows and autumn calving cows before they calve down?
Yeah, the spring calves, they're normally kept out of grass until about the 1st of December, to keep them kind of fit, and they're on second cut silage and minerals coming up to calving, and after the calf then there's a pinch of meal, especially the earlier ones, because just to keep a good bit of condition on. The autumn born ones are basically used as toppers. Her Donald saying the same thing, run them around after the cattle and just watch them and leave a bucket with them, that's all. That's about it.
Okay. Right, that concludes here my presentation. Thank you all, and thank the three lads there for your appreciation for them.